here.
I'm so sorry.
There you go.
Okay, so don't hold it against me. All right, so welcome everybody. Nice to have you all today. Welcome, thank you for joining us. My name is Catherine Prentice, and I'm the Managing Director for Noble Manhattan Coach Training in the Balkan region, covering countries such as Bulgaria, Macedonia, Albania, Kosovo, Montenegro, Croatia, Bosnia, and Greece. However, today's webinar, we have the pleasure of having over 70 people registered. And it's really fun to see all the countries that have chosen to be with us. So I'll list them quickly. We have, so if any of you are from that country currently online, you can raise your hand or say hello in the chat. So we have Albania, Australia, Bulgaria, Croatia, Egypt, Germany, Greece, India, Mexico, Netherlands, North Macedonia, Switzerland, United Kingdom. So welcome everybody. Also another, I want to also say welcome to Ina Solanki from India, who is also the master distributor for India. So this event today is sort of joint event. So many of you are also from India. Welcome and thank you for joining us. It's really nice to have this event together. And it is a very great pleasure for me to introduce to you Gerard Donovan, who is the CEO and founder of Noble Manhattan Coaching. And also he is the great inspirationalist for many of our desire to actually study coaching. He has inspired many people, I'm one of them, to fall in love with coaching. And those of you who already study with Noble Manhattan know him a little better, and you know how much joy and how much not just knowledge but passion about coaching we can gain from Gerard. So Gerard is also the founder and owner of the Alpha Group, which is the fastest growing peer-to-peer executive board, helping small and medium enterprises double or even triple their value within 2 years. And Gerard and the Noble Manhattan team has done amazing, have an amazing contribution to not just training magnificent coaches in many countries around the globe, but also shaping the very structure of coaching, have influenced the very essence of the coaching industry, and has definitely pioneered the coaching in many countries. So without further ado, Gerard, I pass the microphone to you, and thank you for being our speaker today.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. And hello, everyone. It's absolutely lovely to be able to spend time with you. And to think that here I am in the UK, and we have people from Mexico. Welcome, Charlie. Lovely to see you. We have people from India. Welcome, Ina, and everywhere in between. So I don't know how many time zones that is, but it's probably about 12 or 13 hours of different time zones. And you may be surprised to hear that I'm doing this from my office in the south of England. And if you look, you will see the sun is streaming in at me. Many of you don't believe we get sun in the south of England. Look, I am literally in bright sunlight here. So it's absolutely wonderful. So today, in the short time we've got together, we call this an introduction to coaching. And today we are going to be focusing on coaching, life coaching, executive coaching, team coaching. What does it mean to be a coach? How do you train to be a coach? What is it like when a coach engages with their client? How much income does a coach make? But I'm also going to do a section, which I don't often do, on coaching within corporations, within worldwide organizations. And I'm going to talk about what does it look like, executive coaching, coaching managers, More importantly, what is the ROI, return on investment? What is the difference a coach will make within an organization? So I'll do a section on that as well. Now, everything I show you, I'm going to send you. So all my PowerPoints, all of my PDFs, all of my Word documents, anything that I show you, we will send you. So you don't have to worry about wasting time making notes. And also, if you have any questions, please ask them. Don't wait until the end. You might forget. If you have a question and it's in your mind and you want an answer, then please either put it in the chat, and Catherine and Brian will keep an eye on the chat and they will draw my attention to it, or raise your hand. There's a function on Zoom where you can raise your hand, and hopefully we will spot that as well. All right. Now, a couple of little admin things. If you haven't used Zoom before, on the top right-hand corner, there's an option called View. And you can view either in speaker mode, which whoever is speaking looks a bit bigger, or gallery. Now, I have a number of screens in front of me with a camera. I have a digital pen. It's not a real pen, you write on a screen. So at times I'm going to be looking away. I'm going to be showing some PowerPoints. I'm going to be drawing on a whiteboard. I'm going to be showing some websites, and I'm going to go back and forth between that. So if I look away, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just looking at my other screen. Okay. Time-wise, I'm guessing around the 1 3/4 to 2 hour mark to get everything covered. But I promise to move at a good speed and to honor your time and your commitment to be with us here today. So now, before I begin and talk about coaching, I hope you don't mind, but I want to take a few minutes and talk about Noble Manhattan, our organization. And I want to do that because, not because I love it, which I do, because we are very, very different to literally every other coach training company in the world. And I want you to get a feel for that. I want you to get an understanding, an appreciation. I'm going to give you some figures today. And pretty much all of the figures I give you are from an organization called PwC. Have you come across PwC? They're called PricewaterhouseCoopers. Worldwide, one of the top 5 or 6 big accounting and consulting companies. They do a survey every year, a worldwide survey on the coaching industry. And it's available on their American website. It's about a 150-page document you can download. So a lot of the figures I'm giving you today are straight from their findings. So you can always verify those should you wish. But the important thing, 2 important things. Number 1, you may or may not know, but right now, coaching is the 2nd fastest growing industry in the world. Number 2, 2nd fastest. Would anyone like to hazard a guess as to what the number 1 is, the fastest growing industry? And feel free to talk to me. I get lonely here. Anyone?
Is it beauty? Like beauty industry?
You know, beauty is probably up there in the top 4 or 5 because it is growing. No, it's not, Svetla. It's actually the IT industry. So both hardware and software, the 2 of those together are just booming like a volcano right now. So IT is number 1, coaching is number 2. What is interesting, it has been number 2 for 3 or 4 years. So it's growing and growing at a rate that is quite phenomenal. There are today, and this is a sort of a guesstimate, approximately 900 coach training companies in the world, about, so all over the planet. Noble Manhattan is one of those. We're in the top 3. But we are very different in shape and size and composite. Most coach training companies are like a school. You join, you do a course, you get a certificate, you leave. You don't hear from them again. In Noble Manhattan, we try and do two things. Not only do we train men and women to be magnificent coaches, life coaches, executive coaches, team coaches, corporate coaches, child and adolescent coaches, parent coaches. Not only do we train people to be magnificent coaches, but, and I hope you take this the right way, we're a bit like the mafia. You know, once you join, it's difficult to leave. We carry on supporting you for the rest of your life, mostly completely free of charge, to help you to build, grow, expand, and develop your business. So I want to take 5 minutes of your valuable time and to show you a little bit about the shape of Noble Manhattan. At the core, we have our coach training school. We deliver over 12 separate courses in 8 languages in 29 countries around the world. That's at the middle. Round about that, we have a series of divisions, we call them. Each of these is designed to help you build, grow, and expand your business. And I want, if I can ask you a favor, to show you my screen and take you through some of these just for a few minutes. And then we'll come straight back to coaching, and I'll get straight into the meat of today's meeting, if that makes sense to you. So you should be seeing one of my computer screens now. This is the main Noble Manhattan website. As well as that, we own a magazine. It's called International Coaching News, and right now it is the biggest magazine within the coaching world all over the planet. We employ full-time of editors, graphics designers. We give this magazine away free of charge worldwide. And we allow all of our students and coaches all over the world, if they want, to write for the magazine. They can write articles, case studies, interviews, white papers, and so on. And we will publish them. And we do that to help our people raise their brand, their image, and their profile. And you'll see we have 38,000 subscribers in over 21 countries. So the International Coaching News is a division where we use it to help raise the brand. We have won awards for the most independent, cutting-edge reporting within not the coaching world, but the whole personal development world. Okay. Then we have a division called Coaching Support, where we run physical meetings in dozens and dozens of cities all over the world. One evening every month, we deliver lectures, seminars, we do masterminds, we do networking. How much do we charge? Zero. We do it in multiple languages. We have coaching support groups. You can see the drop down in all of these countries. Let's just go to one. Let's just go to the Middle East. We have support groups in Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, Turkey, UAE, Saudi. Let's go to Beirut in Lebanon. Each coaching support group is run by a president and a team of officers. And they are there to support our people in their region. If you happen, wherever you are now, here today, watching me, if you happen to live in a region where we don't have a support group and you want, we'll even train you to run one. How much do we charge? Zero. So we're one of the few companies that just give away all of this for free all over the world. We own the world's biggest register of coaches. It's called coachfinder.com or coach-finder.com. It's a wonderful name. And we allow all of our people to have a registry, to have a listing. And it's so that your clients, now in the coaching world, we call clients coachees, but today I'll call them clients. It's so that your clients can find you. They can search by type of coaching. Look, we have life coaching, NLP coaching, information coaching, project management coaching, ADHD coaching, addiction coaching, corporate coaching, over 50 types. They can search by the map. I'll just scroll out. That's south of England. Look, we have thousands of coaches registered. That's part of Europe. It goes wider. We've got thousands and thousands of coaches registered from all over the world. Or the customer, the client, can search by directory. And we allow you to have your own listing, to upload your resume in any language, audios, videos, and so on. How much do we charge our people? Everyone else outside of Noble Manhattan has to pay. Our people, completely free. We own Noble Coaches. Now, Noble Coaches is very different. It is unique. Noble Coaches is where we go out into the world, we contact large corporations, we negotiate coaching contracts, executive coaching, leadership coaching, team coaching, all sorts. We get the contract, we negotiate, and then we give that work to the men and women who have trained with us. And we split the revenue 50-50, which we think is quite fair. Here are some names of companies, only a few, that you might have seen. Airbus, big European manufacturer. BCR, Bank Commercial Romania, Bank of Scotland. Here's one you'll know, Coca-Cola, LOT, Polish Airlines, Nikken, Nokia, Pepsi-Cola, Raiffeisen Bank, big Austrian bank, Santander, Spanish company, and so on and so on. So we actually go and get the work and give it to some of the people that have trained with us. Okay. We own Coaching Tools. Coaching Tools is a division where, if you need it, not everyone does, we will help you to build your online presence with social media platforms, pages, groups, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, Gab, Parler, Zing, Twitter, all of it. We'll set you up with blogs. We'll even build your website for you if you need us to do that. We own Coach Radio. Coach Radio is an online podcasting platform where we allow all of our people to have their own monthly radio show in their own language.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talk Money Show, the show where we talk all about money. And today I'm really delighted.
So this is playing now. This is Agnesia from South Africa, one of our wonderful coaches. We allow all of our people to have their own radio show. And we've done a deal with a company called iTunes. You might have heard of them. And all of our shows appear on iTunes within 24 hours and stay there forever. How much do we charge our people? $0. Everyone else outside of Noble Manhattan has to pay. We own a publishing arm called Books for You. Books for You is designed to allow you to become a published author. We will publish for you ebooks, articles, interviews, white papers, and so on. The name is wonderful, booksforyou.online. How much do we charge our students? $0. We set up landing page. You might not have come across the words or the language, what we call lead generation pages, sales pages, landing pages. We set those up for our students. And finally, Catherine mentioned this, we own the Alpha Group. The Alpha Group is in 31 countries. It's a peer-to-peer executive board. It works only and exclusively with business owners. And we make one promise only, that we will double the value of their business in 2 to 3 years. We have never failed, ever. And we run the Alpha Group in over 12 separate languages worldwide. So to give you a flavor, what we do, ladies and gentlemen, we train men and women to be magnificent coaches, and then we provide a series of services, divisions, products, most of which are free, to help those men and women build, grow, and develop their business. And I wanted to share that with you because I am incredibly proud of it. And I wanted people to know. And sometimes people say, you know, what makes Noble Manhattan different? There are so many answers, but I'll give you one. We care more for our people's success than sometimes they care for it themselves. You know, so okay, before I move on into the coaching, any questions on anything I've covered? Does anyone care? No, no one cares. I'm sitting here all on my own talking to myself. Okay, all right, so here we go. So now let's talk about the world of coaching. I'm going to show a PowerPoint and I'll take you through this. Let me go back onto my share. Okay, here we go. So Noble Manhattan, there's welcome. We've done all that. Oh yeah, we were established in 1993. We started training coaches in 99. We have trained over 25,000 coaches. We're now in 29 countries. We have about 400 people in total working for the company in all various roles and positions in those 29 countries. So there we go. That's the boring figures. So now let's talk about the foundations of coaching. There's 1 and 3. The first one is a bit weird. It's not a foundation, but it's a fact. Right now, nearly 100% of coaching is being delivered worldwide at a distance using Zoom, Skype, Google Hangouts, Microsoft Teams, telephone, and so on. Now, before the COVID pandemic, going back 2 years, it was 90% then. And then since the COVID pandemic, it's now something like 97, 98% of all coaching all over the world is being delivered at a distance. Now, does that matter? You bet it matters. It matters more than you can imagine. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about life, normal life. Most people in life live where their work is, where their job is. In fact, quite often, and you all know people who've done this, people will move from one city to another to get a different job or get a new job. So they'll move for their work. That's very normal. In coaching, it is exactly the opposite. You and I can live where we want to live. We can live where we want to live and build our business around it. Now, I mentioned to you, I'm in my home office. I live in a small town called Weymouth on the south coast of England. It's very beautiful. I'm very close to the beach, but it's a small town, about 42,000 population, no big industry, no big organizations. But I am a coach. I have clients right now. I'll give you some names. Celia lives in La Jolla, near San Diego in California. We coach at 8 a.m. in the morning, her time, which is 4 p.m. in the afternoon, my time. We do it on Zoom. We've been coaching for about 7 years. I have never met Celia. I've met her on Zoom, of course. I feel I know her, but never physically. I have a lady called Gosha in Gdansk. I wonder if whoever is playing music would be kind enough to mute themselves. Brian, I wonder if you could step in and find who that is.
I am trying to. It's Vasil. Could you please mute yourself, Vasil? Okay, there we go.
Okay. I've just removed Vasil from the.
Thank you.
Okay. I coach a lady called Gosha in Gdansk in the north of Poland. A gentleman called Wodek in the city of Łódź. A gentleman called George in Singapore. We do it on Zoom. I have never met any of those people in my life. So by doing this, it allows coaches, no matter where you are on the planet, to build a business all over the world. And the only restriction to you would be language. So I wanted to mention that because personally, I think it's just such a good bonus, such a good benefit to this type of industry. Now let's come to coaching. Now, no matter what type of coaching you do, our research and development department has highlighted that right now, today, there are 54 different types of coaching, 54. And when you are qualified, you could market yourself as a health coach, a wealth coach, a relationship coach, a career coach, a goal coach, a belief coach, a wedding coach, a divorce coach, an expat coach, all of those. Now, you don't need any extra training. It's a marketing function. But all of those types of coaching have got three fundamentals or principles. Number one, all coaches are, or rather should be, non-judgmental. Non-judgmental. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? It means that to a good coach, it should not matter one little bit who your client is. It should not matter if your client is young or old, rich or poor, male or female. It should not matter the color of their skin or the belief system that they follow. Now, having said that, the truth is that you and I, we're all judgmental. All of us, because of our conditioning. You and I, we all grew up in a family and we got influenced. We went to school. We got influenced. Today, you have certain friends you hang around with. You get influenced. You watch television programs. We get influenced. So even though we may not know it, you and I have a huge weight of judgments sitting on our shoulders. And when you learn to be a coach, when you train, one of the things you learn is how to, we use the expression, to become clear of judgments. And how to take your judgments, like this jacket that I'm wearing, and take it off and put it to one side. So that while you are coaching, you are clear of judgments. And when you are finished with your client, if you really want, you can take your judgments and put them back on again, just like you were. But something weird happens, something strange happens. The more you do it, the more you become it. The more you actually practice being non-judgmental, the more as a human being, you actually become more non-judgmental. You become more caring, more compassionate, more accepting. And personally, I think that's a great thing. But hold on, even that's my judgment. So even that is a judgment. It's difficult to get away from this. But I think you get my point. In order to be a great coach, you need to have within you a willingness to learn how to become non-judgmental. And let me share something with you. Before COVID, I used to travel all the time, all around the countries, meeting our teams. It was absolutely wonderful. And people ask questions. And one question people often ask is, what does it take? What do you need to be a great coach? And there are two answers: the official answer and the truth. And the official answer is, well, there's so much to learn. You need to become an expert in questioning skills, listening skills, values, ethics, beliefs, self-esteem, dealing with abundance, building rapport, goal planning, goal setting. There's so many. Well, that's the official answer. The truth is very different. The truth is you need one thing. You need to really love people. You need to love working with people. And if you love people, We can teach you the stuff. I can teach you questioning skills, listening skills, values, all of those. But I cannot teach you to love people. So if anyone is ever thinking of becoming a coach, the first thing to do is to look deep within yourself, look into your own heart and ask yourself, do you love working with people? And if you do, that's a great first step. If you don't, be honest with yourself, because coaching really isn't for you. You need to love people. So that's number one. Coaches are non-judgmental. Number two, coaches are non-directional. Non-directional. What does that mean? It means that there are certain words that a coach would never use. Words like must, have to, ought to, and should. There are no shoulds in coaching. We don't point fingers. We don't tell. Now, is there anything wrong in being directional? Well, actually, no. You know, there are some times in life it's necessary. Just imagine we were all together in a hotel training room and I'm doing this in front of you and the fire alarm bells went off and one of you stood up and you said, everyone, be quiet, listen to me, do exactly what I tell you, and I will lead you out of here safely. You know, if that happened, I would be right behind you. I would not want to call a meeting to discuss it. So there are times in life it is appropriate to be directional, but coaching is non-directional. So it's very important to remember that. Sometimes people who come to coaching, if they've come from certain backgrounds, like management consultancy or something similar, they have to readjust their thinking because in their previous career, they were very used to giving direct instructions and so on. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that coaching does not. And now we come to the fourth pillar of coaching, but it's not the fourth pillar. It's the numero uno, number one. And it is coaches have no answer. We have no answer. And it comes from something that Einstein said in the 1930s. And I'll have to see if I can remember what he said. What did he say? Einstein said, in order to solve the problems that we currently face in life, we must access a higher level of intelligence than that which we used to originally create those problems. So I'll say that again. In order to solve the problems that we currently face in life, we must access a higher level of intelligence than that which we used to originally create those problems. Now, there's two messages in Einstein's statement. And the first message, to be honest, is a little bit negative. What he's saying is that you and I, whatever we experience in life, we have created it. Now, I wonder, do you all believe that? You know, in coaching, we use a phrase, we say that we manifest our reality, we create our reality. But of course, if you are experiencing something that's very upsetting, you don't want someone coming along and telling you that it's your fault, you've created it. You know, you want someone to show you love and care and compassion. So is he right? Is Einstein right? Well, yes, he is. And we do create our own reality. Now, how do we do that? Well, today, I don't want to frighten you all away by talking about things like quantum physics, although that is very relevant. I don't want to talk about electromagnetism, although that's relevant. I don't want to talk about the power of thought and vibration and frequency, even though that's very relevant. I don't want to talk about holographic universes, although that's relevant. I'll give you one simple example. Decisions. Our life is created by the thousands and thousands of decisions we make on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. That decision to have a cigarette or not, that decision to have an alcoholic drink or not, that decision to lie in bed or get up early, that decision to watch television for another 3 hours or go for a walk in the fresh air, that decision when you're walking down the middle of your town and you're feeling hungry and you go left into McDonald's, or you turn right into something far more healthy, like a salad or juice bar or something. These are the decisions we make daily, 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 and they create our life. And I love that, because it means you and I are in charge. We are in control. You and I can immediately start making different decisions and experiencing different results and outcomes. So you and I are in charge, and I love that very, very much. So the first part of Einstein's message was that we create our own reality. The second message is a bit more involved. How do I explain it? He said, you know, Einstein is saying that we're all very special. Now, many of you on the call today, I don't know, we've never met. Who knows what will happen in the future? Maybe we will build a relationship, get to know each other. Maybe we won't. Who knows? So I don't know you. However, I know a lot about you. I know a huge amount about you. Number one, you are human beings. And as human beings, you have within you the most incredible power. You have a strength. You have a magnificence. You have an inner light that shines, that is out of this world. And I mean that very deliberately. In fact, I'll say it again. You have an inner light that shines, that is out of this world. You have an ability, you have a strength, you have a magnificence. If you only came to a true understanding of who you are and what you are capable of, my goodness, you'd never be the same again. But that's only half. As well as a human being, you are also a spiritual being. And as a spiritual being, you have an omnipotence and an omnipresence and an omnipower. And this is the point, you have access to any resource you should ever need in life to help you to deal with any challenge or problem life is giving you. Not only that, you have access to every resource, and I mean this, every resource you need in order to help you to set and achieve any goal that you want to in life. This I know with a deep sense of knowing. The problem is, no one sits us down when we are tiny children, teaches us about the power within us, teaches us how to access that power and how to direct it outwards. We never get taught that. And this is what coaches do. Coaches help clients to reach deep down inside themselves and come up with an answer that is right, true, perfect, and appropriate for them, the coach, the client, not the coach. The answer that is right for the client. And this is one of the magnificent things that a coach does with and for their clients. How do they do it? How do they do it? Well, we have many ways. Let me show you. I'm going to get my whiteboard up. So hopefully you can see my whiteboard here. Let me draw a circle. So look at that, a perfect circle. Thank goodness for Microsoft whiteboards. This is something many of you will have seen and heard of in the past. It's called a wheel of life. It's a model, it's a tool, it's a coaching exercise And all of our life is divided into multiple areas. So we've got health, we've got money. Oh, by the way, money is not the same as health. And here we have career. Money is not the same as career. A lot of people make the mistake of joining the two together. They're very separate. We have the people you love that you're very close to. We have your intellect, your knowledge, your studying, what you know. We have very important fun, socializing, big part of our life. We have community. We have one of my favorites, the spiritual part of your life. And there's more. There's actually about 20 different areas of our life. I'm just showing a few here. A good coach would work with their client. First of all, helping them to get rid of issues and problems and challenges in these areas. And then helping them to set and achieve goals in each of these areas. But here's the interesting point. Doing it in a balanced and a holistic way. Because, and now this is my interpretation, so forgive me, because there's no point in helping someone become a multi-millionaire if they have a heart attack and they die on the way. There's no point in helping someone become a multi-millionaire if they lose everything in their life that they love. Now, forgive me, that's my belief, my take on things, but I think you'll understand the point that I'm trying to make. So we do this in a balanced and in a holistic way. Here we have now the present. On this side, we have the past. On this side, we have the future. Now, there are many different therapy types. Many of you will have heard of names like Gestalt, transactional analysis, occupational therapy, cognitive behavior, family therapy. There are about 50 very different types of what we call therapy. There are some therapies, quite a lot, that take people into the past in order to help them deal with a blockage or a problem so that they can then move into the future. Coaching is very different. Coaching generally does not do that. Now, in coaching, we do teach people a thing called timeline. We do teach people about beliefs, where beliefs come from, disempowering beliefs. However, generally speaking, coaching is all about starting here and now and creating a compelling future. We don't spend an awful lot of time dwelling in the past. And I'd like to show you, if I can find it. I'll get rid of some of these websites I showed earlier. I'd like to show you, I've created a PDF document, and again, I will send this to all of you. Some of the differences between conventional therapy and personal coaching. And I've created about 80 or 100 differences. I'm not going to bore you. I'll just read 2 or 3 from the top. So conventional therapy, generally speaking, is about personal strengthening. Coaching is about personal evolution. Therapy is about triage. Coaching is about visioning. Therapy is issue resolution. Coaching is problem solving. Therapy is why me? Why this? Coaching is what's next? What's now? Therapy is unconscious to conscious level. Coaching is conscious to a higher conscious level and much higher. So I'll share that with you all. So before I go any further, I'll stop the share. Any questions on anything I've covered so far? Thank you, Charlie, giving me the thumbs up. Okay. I'm just going to reach into my bookcase here. I want to show you a book. I showed you just now what we call the wheel of life, a very simple but straightforward and quite effective coaching tool. There are many, what we use the language, coaching models or coaching tools. There are over 150. So here, this is a book written by a lovely colleague of ours, Laura Commerson, Tool for Coach, and it says 150 separate coaching tools and models. So you have models like the OSCAR, O-S-K-A-R. You've got the 3 R's. You have the IDEAL, I-D-E-A-L. You've got one called the TGROW, T-G-R-O-W. One called Sparkle. These are all very different. And a good coach would be very knowledgeable and familiar with many of these models. Like a surgeon would use a specific tool to carry out a procedure. So some of these models, like the TGROW, TGROW, are very broad. You can use them in many areas. Others are specifically for things like health coaching, wealth coaching, relationship coaching. We have created some of the most cutting-edge models right now for parenting coaching and coaching children and adolescents. In fact, I'm delighted to say that Noble Manhattan is at the cutting edge of running courses to teach people how to coach children and adolescents. So a good coach would be familiar with a number of these different models, and we teach them, of course. We do all that for you, and we teach you and provide you with the details. So I'll go back to my sharing screen, and I just want to share a definition with you. I think you can see my screen now, I'm hoping. So I've got 2 definitions of coaching. This is a short one. Coaching is about performing at your best through the individual and private assistance of someone who will challenge, stimulate, and guide you to keep growing. So that's a short definition. I then created a longer definition, a 1-page Word document. The 2 lines at the top are what I have just read. And then it goes on. I'm not going to read it all to you, but I'll just read a couple of lines. Essentially, it is about helping you to reach self-actualization, a point at which you not only truly know yourself, but within this knowledge, possess a feeling of comfort with and understanding of the person you discover. Very important, helping you to become very comfortable with who you are. Now, again, we'll send you all of these documents so you don't have to make a note. Okay, so now what I'd like to do, we have some people on the call today who actually are either training with us or are qualified coaches, and I welcome you. The shape of the coaching world, it's interesting. I have come across even some master coaches who don't really understand the shape of the world that they are in. And I'd like 5 minutes of your time. I'm going to draw on my whiteboard and show you the current shape of the coaching world. Okay. So I'll get my electronic pen, draw on this screen. So let me just get rid of this. Okay. So at the bottom, we have what I would call coaches. Now, forgive me, I'm drawing like a child here, but it's very difficult to draw with a sliding electronic pen on a leaning laptop screen. I usually am better than this. So we have coaches all over the world. Would anyone like to guess how many coaches there are all over the planet? Come on, have a guess. Play the game. It doesn't matter if you get it wrong. Anyone hazard a guess? Shout out. Look at the chat.
Let's put that it's 20,000.
Okay, 20,000 on my left. Any advance of 20,000? I should be an auctioneer.
35,000.
35,000 on my right. Any advance on 35,000? Oh, Isabel, 1 million. My goodness, Isabel. That's, yeah. Okay, I'll help you. It's between 35,000 and 1 million. We believe it's about 350,000. Now, these are people who have done some sort of formal coach training and some sort of qualification. There are many people that call themselves a coach. You'll see that on LinkedIn. It doesn't mean that they are, but there's about 350,000 people who are coaches. Now, here's a question. Is that a lot or is it a little? Well, I'm in the United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom, there are 400,000 registered therapists. Now we're not therapists, but I'm just showing that to put it in perspective. In America, the USA, there are 1.2 million registered therapists. We're in the world of coaching. There are about 350,000 all over the planet. So actually, not an awful lot. And I referred earlier to the organization PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. They have estimated this, and they say in their report that actually right now companies are struggling to find enough good quality executive coaches and team coaches to work with them. So anyway, so there we go. At the bottom, we have coaches. Above coaches, we have training. Companies. About 900. It keeps changing up and down, but it's about 900. Our company, Noble Manhattan, we're one of these. In fact, we're in the top 3 size worldwide. Above the training companies, we have membership organizations. There's about 50. Some of them are very well known. There's a very big one called the ICF. Some of you will have heard of the ICF, based in America, but now all over the world. There's the AOC, the EMCC, and others. These are privately owned, for-profit membership organizations. And that's good, because sometimes when you are a coach and you work from home, it can be lonely, and it gives you access to other people, maybe some webinars and newsletters, and so on. So that's good, about 50 of them. Above them, we have official accreditation. Organizations, and there's only about 9. One is an American university called Stanford. You might have heard of Stanford. One is called the ILM, Institute for Leadership and Management. They're in 132 countries worldwide. One is the IAPC and M, International Authority for Professional Coaching and Mentoring, and so on. These are organizations that actually have been given authority by governments and education departments. These membership organizations are not recognized by any government or any education authority. These are. And then above those, you have one organization, IRCM, International Regulator for Coaching and Mentoring. Now, let me get a red color here. All of these 3 types of organizations here are commercial. So training companies have students. The membership and the accreditation bodies have members. You pay an annual amount, you become one of their members. So all of these have a duty of care and a loyalty to their members. The IRCM is very different. Let's look at the name. International Regulator for Coaching and Mentoring. What does the word regulator make you think of? Anyone got an idea? The word regulator. It's like the policeman of the industry.
Like setting standards?
Setting standards, exactly. And they do not have members. They have a duty of care to a completely different group of people, which is the public, i.e. the clients. Their job is to any clients, any people that buy coaching can go to them if they have a problem. And the worldwide word, the service they offer is what's called an ombudsman service. Now that may not translate into many different languages, but it's an ombudsman. And you'll notice that in every country, every industry, the energy industry, telecommunications industry, agricultural industry, they all have an ombudsman. So if you need to complain about that industry, you go to the ombudsman. Right? These are the worldwide ombudsman for the coaching world. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you, and I'll show you a couple of websites if I can find them. Here is the website for the International Authority for Professional Coaching and Mentoring. These are recognized by governmental bodies. Here is the website for the ILM, Institute for Leadership and Management. This one I show you because they're very big, the ICF, International Coaching Federation. They're a membership organization. And finally, the International Regulator for Coaching and Mentoring. This is their website, very official looking, very governmental type looking. So let me stop the share. Okay. What I want to do now is talk to you about coaching within organizations. But before I do that, are there any questions? Anything at all that you would like me to explain in more detail or go back over? Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up. That's fine. Thank you. So now, let me get rid of this. Shrink that down. So now I want to cover something interesting, and I'm going to ask your forgiveness in advance, because what I'm about to do with you in the next 15 minutes is a whole day training. So I'm going to go through it at the speed of light, but I'm going to send you the PowerPoints. Is that okay? And I don't want to, you know, you've been so good giving me the most precious gift you have in the world, which is your time. So I want to talk now about coaching within organizations worldwide. And I'm going to show you actual facts and figures, and you can go onto Google, you can verify these, you can look them up, and so on. First of all, let's look at this. Look at the words in red. People don't leave companies. They leave managers. This is true for 80% of people who leave companies. Now, people leave companies for other reasons. They get married, they get pregnant, they move country, but generally, they leave managers. So a manager can be the biggest asset a company has, but also a manager can be a liability to a company. Coaching is now the fastest growing industry within organizations all over the world. Companies, I showed you some earlier, Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola, Airbus, Siemens, Nokia, Lot, and Procter & Gamble. These are organizations that are embracing coaching. Google, Microsoft, HP, Dell Computers, they are all paying for their senior managers and executives to have executive coaching. Why are they doing that? Are these companies that just spend money without thinking? No, they've looked into it, and the mathematical figures prove that coaching works and coaching is incredibly cost effective. And I will show you now. So forgive me now for the speed I'm going to go at. I wouldn't normally do this. So we'll talk about trends, methodologies, and techniques. What do we know about coaching? Number one, it works. It's mad, M-A-D. Coaching is mad. What does that mean? It makes a difference. And it always makes a difference for the good, for the positive. Next, the ROI, which is return on investment, is huge and continues to grow as coaching evolves. The Harvard Business Review said, the goal of coaching is the goal of good management to make the most of an organization's valuable resources. Harvard Business Review. A worldwide organization called Metrics Global, based out of America, said, these are just bullet point figures. The bottom line, coaching produced a 529% return on investment. Not only tangible, but there were intangible benefits to the business. What are intangible? Things like happiness, peace of mind, joy in the workplace. These are the intangible benefits. And they were seen to improve. Coaching maximized the business impact from executives. Now, you can look up on Google. There is a review called the Manchester Review, where they looked at 300 companies worldwide. And they found that coaching delivered an average ROI of 5.7 times the initial investment. Executive productivity improved by 53%. Organizational strength went up 48%. Quality improvements, 48%. This is good. Customer service improvements went up 39%. Retaining good quality executives up by a third. Direct report relationships improved by 70%. Teamwork improved by just under 70%. Working relationships with peers, 63. Job satisfaction, 52. And I have an interesting figure to show you. I'm keeping to the end. The key fact, the Association of Coaching did another survey with 600 companies worldwide. Again, you can look these up. And I want you to look at the bottom line here. In the majority of cases, the coachees, the client, received between 4 and 7 coaching sessions. So these improvements that I've just shown you did not take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to happen. They happened when a coach or coaches went into a company and coached the individuals for between 4 and 7 coaching sessions. Now, if you don't think that's extraordinary, you haven't been listening. It really is. The word magnificent comes to mind. To be able to make that sort of positive change with 4, 5, or 6 sessions with an executive is magnificent. All right, we're not finished. Executive team coaching data. Right, this particular coaching program I'm showing you now lasted for 10 months, and the individuals had 6 sessions. So 6 sessions over a 10-month period. It was 12 people on an international board, the 12 directors of an international company, big multinational. They each had one-to-one coaching, 6 sessions over 10 months. Look at the bottom. Estimated ROI, 750%. And now let's look at the actual things that they measured. The general effectiveness in meetings went up 78%. Time effectiveness on decisions, 66%. Quantity of decisions up 54%. Quality of decisions up 44%. The next one I love. You may or may not know, but sometimes in companies, people are reluctant to share information with each other. Information is power and knowledge. Information sharing between teams, groups, cross-division went up 88%. Managerial risks were down 33%. Delegation up 50%. Group management skills up 67%. I love the next one. Stress and pressure down 54%. And they all got a bigger profit share. So I'm sure they were happy with that. They had 6 sessions, ladies and gentlemen. Where else can you make such an impact within an organization in such a short period of time? We now live in a world where we have trends converging. We have young dynamic populations. If you look at Nigeria, I only give that as an example, population of 172 million, 64% are under 24 years of age. You go to America, go to Western Europe, Germany, United Kingdom, go to a big multinational and go to the head of HR. And the head of HR for big multinationals in the West are usually in their 40s or 50s. You go to Eastern Europe, the same position, and the heads of HR will be 30 years of age, 33, 34, younger, more dynamic. You go to the Middle East, people at higher levels are at a younger age. We have technology driving change, webinars, Skype, social media, cost cutting. Did you know 50 years ago, there were 3 billion people on the planet? Now there's 7.5 billion within the lives of most people living. And that's only going to keep on growing. Changes in the world of work. Younger workforce at managerial level everywhere. The older people are being pushed out. It's a young world, ladies and gentlemen. People are moving up the value chain, increasing mobility, people leaving, positive impact of globalization, depersonalization. The old ways are seen to no longer work the way they used to. People need to embrace new ways. More knowledge workers. Juniors in teams are sometimes more knowledgeable than their managers, especially in the IT world, changing lifestyles, and so on. Service delivery. And we talked at the very beginning about how the figures are now something like 97% of all coaching is being delivered using Zoom, Google, Microsoft Teams, Skype, and so on, at a distance. It's wonderful. And again, these are just figures showing how effective it is. I'll send it all to you. I'll send it all. There's 2 types of management, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1 is traditional. We call it command and control. It's been around for 2,000 years. It comes from the military system. And now there's a second type of management. It's called coaching. And coaching as a type of management is sweeping the globe. We're now seeing that in the world of HR, human resources, if you want to move up the ladder within your company, you need to have a coaching qualification. We've seen it in the world of training. If you're in training management, you need to have a coaching qualification. If you're a management consultant, companies now want management consultants that also have a coaching qualification. It's sweeping the world like a tidal wave. Why? Because it works. And then these trends are coming together. Coaching, mobility, sharing, working online with an international focus. Look here, I don't know how many countries we have today. 8, 10, 12 here today. We have a young world. We have outsourcing is now normal. Why would you use someone to deliver a service in your own city when someone 1,000 miles away will do it better and cheaper? I did a lecture at the University of Warsaw in Poland 2 years ago. to all of their professors. And at one point, I said something that upset a lot of them. I stood up and I said, ladies and gentlemen, there are people in this world who can do your job better than you and cheaper. And they didn't like it, but it's the truth. There are people in this world who can do your job better than you and for less money. So outsourcing is now growing like a volcano. So people need to retrain, they need reskilled, they need coaching, and competition is growing. Lenovo, you've probably heard of Lenovo, one of the biggest computer companies in the world. It no longer has a corporate headquarters. Its executives circle the globe, working in hotel rooms wherever they are. 2 in every 5 IBM employees have no office anymore. They're mobile. 20 years ago, you wouldn't believe that. It just, people couldn't comprehend that. And so on. And there are new models and methods of coaching being invented literally every month. We in Noble Manhattan have invented countless coaching models, and so do other organizations. And finally, I'll leave you with this. A leader is best when people barely know he or she exists. Not so good when people obey and acclaim him. Worse, when they despise him. But a good leader who talks little, when his work is done and his aim fulfilled, they will say, we did this ourselves. Look who said that. That wasn't said last month. That was said by Lao Tse 2,000 years ago. I don't think much has changed. So good leaders are there to empower their people. Coaching is all about turning managers into leaders. Turning managers into leaders. So there we go. So I'm now going to do a couple of more short sections. I'm going to talk a little bit about training to be a coach, just so you have an idea in your mind what's involved in that, the structure, the costings, the content. And then I'll talk a little bit about what I would call spiritual coaching. You'll see what I mean. And then I'll finish after that, because I'm very, very aware of your time, and I appreciate it. So let me share my whiteboard with you again. I'll share my screen. Okay, so here in Noble Manhattan, as a professional coach training organization, we have many courses. We have over 12. Everything from a one-day simple introduction to coaching, right up to a PhD in coaching. We have courses that specifically are aimed at managers within organizations. And we have courses specifically aimed at what we call child and adolescent coaching. So we have many. But one of our main programs, we call it our flagship program. We call it, I'll get a different color, PCD, Practitioner Coach Diploma. Now, the name itself is significant. Why? 97% of all coach training courses in the world are certificate courses. You finish, you get a certificate. In the world of education worldwide, you have the following levels. You have certificate, you have diploma, and you have a university degree. So this is not as high as a university degree, but it is significantly about 3 times higher than a certificate. This course is about 400 hours. And it is designed for someone to do it who is either working full-time or running a family. So it's designed so that they can fit it around their existing commitments. The average person, now no one is average, but the average person takes anywhere from 6 to 12 months to do the program. And the average person would do 6 hours a week or 7 hours a week or 8 hours a week. This program is independently accredited by 5 external bodies. By the ICF, the City and Guilds, the IAPCNM, the Institute for Leadership and Management, and one of only 7 courses in the world to be recognized by the IRCM, International Regulator for Coaching and Mentoring. Most companies, if they're lucky at all, they are accredited by 1. We have 5. So how does it work? Well, when people register for the program, there is no start date. People can start whenever they want. And we treat everyone like an individual. We send you all of the materials by courier. So wherever you are on this planet, you will receive a box with the course book, handbook, training manual, coaching logs, everything you need. There is never a requirement to purchase anything else, ever. There's a certain amount of home study. And we're there with you, helping you with that. There's a certain amount of written work. In fact, 5 pieces. Now, to put that in perspective, the average essay is 1,000 words. Here is a page of A4. The average A4 page is 500 words. So the equivalent of two pages. So not War and Peace. All right. Every single student is given a private tutor. We call them a mentor. And all of our mentors are senior coaches with over 500 hours of coaching experience under their belt. And every student is given a private mentor, and you will work with your mentor on a one-to-one private basis for many, many, many months. It's like having a driving instructor. That man or woman, and by the way, we're doing this in 8 languages, so multiple languages. So whatever your language is, we do it in, probably. And they will be your guide, your teacher, your trainer, your advisor, but also your client. And you will coach them each time. And then they will give you immediate feedback and guidance. And that will go on for week after week, month after month, until they feel you are ready to put you forward for your final assessment with a master coach. And they all have over 2,000 hours of coaching behind them. So it's like doing your driving lessons, and then you get put forward for your driving test. And you do an oral coaching session with a master coach. As well as that, we then have webinars. Every month, there are multiple webinars in the evening. These are live lectures on Zoom, covering a multitude of topics: questioning skills, listening skills, values, ethics, beliefs, self-esteem, goal planning, goal setting, about 30 different topics. They're delivered by a professional master coach. There are handouts, PowerPoints, all of that. And every single one of them is recorded. So if you can't make it, it's okay. You can log into we have a very sophisticated online learning management system. You can log in and access everything 24 hours a day. We also do webinars with no agenda every month, where you can just log in, speak to one of our master trainers, and ask any question, any query, any doubt, any worry, any issue, anything at all. We're doing this in Polish, Turkish, Romanian, Bulgarian, Hungarian, Spanish, Arabic, English, and we're now working on Russian. So multiple languages. We will then set you up in what we call study buddy groups of 4 or 5, never less than 4, never more than 5. And you meet every week, once a week for 30 minutes, and you will practice coaching with each other. You'll give each other feedback. You'll help each other with written work, with assignments. By the way, all of this is what we call just part 1 of the course. We then have part 2, which is the physical coming together, and there's 9 days in a classroom. Now, before COVID, we used to run these physically in many parts of the world, and I'll show you in a minute some of our training venues all over the world. Because of COVID, we've been doing them online using Zoom. And then when COVID goes away in the future, then we'll make a decision about whether to go back and do some physical and some online. But the first part is a 4-day, and we used to call it a residential, because we provide all accommodation, all food. In fact, I want to say this, we're the only coach training company in the world that provide accommodation and food and everything as part of the package. Because we don't want people arriving and feeling embarrassed about buying a coffee. You know, everything is provided. So there's 4 days, usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but not always, sometimes Monday to Thursday. And then after that, 5 days at the rate of 1 per month. We call those masterclasses. So a group of 4 days, and then a group of 5, 1 a month in your city. And they take place where you live, all over the world. All right. All that together makes up the Practitioner Coach Diploma. So it's a blended learning system. If any of you have studied education or NLP, you'll know that as human beings, we don't all learn the same way. Some of us are what we call visual. I'm visual. I like to draw and squiggle and so on. Some people are auditory. They like to listen. Some people are kinesthetic. They like to feel and touch and build things. We have designed the program so that no matter what is your main learning modality, as we call it, you're covered. There's reading, research, home study, written work, webinar training, one-to-one mentoring. There are completely separate modules, dozens of modules on communication skills, listening skills, questioning skills, values, ethics, beliefs, self-esteem, goal planning, and so on. Separate modules with exercises, with manuals, with webinars. This is just what I said earlier. We will send to you by courier. No matter where you live on the planet, you'll get it within about 48 hours of registering. Course book, manuals, written work, mentoring, support coaching. Now, the 2 bits in red are important. When you finish your course, you're done, complete, you have qualified, you have your diploma. We allow you at 0 cost for the rest of your life to carry on accessing all of our webinars every month forever. Because we have been doing this for 20 years, ladies and gentlemen, and we have been delivering webinars weekly for 20 years, we have got literally thousands of hours of recorded webinars. They are available to every student the minute they register. And when you complete, when you're done, you're qualified, you have lifetime access to that resource forever at 0 cost. Okay. Oh, I forgot to hours of coaching. You will, during that process as well, you will do about 60 hours of coaching with your colleagues, with other students, with people, and so on. And you will have access to our monthly physical regional coaching support groups that I mentioned at the beginning. These are in multiple cities all over the world. Part 2, as I mentioned, a 4-day experiential. We do that with groups of 20 to 25 people with 8 staff. So a very high ratio of trainers to students. And then 5 one-day masterclasses, 1 a month for 5 months. Here's a picture of some of our training venues around the world. Now, we're not using them right now as we speak because of COVID, but we may go back to that. This is in England, near Oxford. This is in the middle of Romania, a place called Predal in the mountains. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is the Jasmine Hotel in Sofia, just on the mountain, just overlooking Sofia. It's a gorgeous place. This is Seroc, just outside Warsaw in Poland. This is always popular. This is Antalya in Turkey. They've got 3 swimming pools and saunas and hammams, and that's all part of the package. And the weather is always lovely, so people like going there. This is West Palm Beach in Florida. We've run many courses there. That's always a popular one as well. I don't know why. So it's a lovely place to go. And we have others. All of our training venues are not in the middle of the city. We always find somewhere that's beautiful. It has a feeling, it has an atmosphere to it. So somewhere you enjoy going. We allow people to bring their family, their wives, husbands, and children when we do these. Very unusual. We allow you to bring your family with you. I'm just showing you some pictures of some of the places. So we always go to places that are interesting. Now, this is a very important slide because in everyone's mind, people will say, well, what's the investment? What's the cost? And so on. If you have looked at coach training, and I would urge you to look at other companies, please become like a detective, do proper diligence. There are some other good companies in the top Premier League, like we are, Premier League of Coach Training, the CTI, there's Ericsson, the Fielding Institute. These are all very good companies. For their flagship programs, they charge about $12,000 to $13,000 US. We don't charge even half of that. And our program is 400 hours. Their programs are about 200 hours. I'll just share that. But because we are delivering in multiple 29 countries around the world, you will all be aware the cost of delivery is different in each country. I'll give you a good example. You can go to Geneva and buy a cappuccino, and they'll charge you €6 for it. You can go to Bucharest in Romania and get an even nicer cappuccino for €1. You know, it's the same product, but the cost of delivery is different. It's even nicer. So we have the same situation. So we charge different amounts depending on the region and our trainers and so on. But they're all literally half the price of some of our competition. There are 2 things that make us incredibly different. No other coach training company does this. Number 1 is APL. It stands for Accreditation for Prior Learning, and it means exemptions. Our thinking, and I brought this in 15, 18 years ago, I do not think it is morally acceptable and fair to charge someone money for something they already know. So we have a whole list of courses and job roles. And if you have done these, you will get exemptions from the program, which reduces the amount of work you have to do and the cost. So if you have, and we have about 100 categories, but if you have done NLP training, you will get exemptions. If you have done counseling or therapy, you'll get exemptions. If you've done some management consultancy, you'll get exemptions. If you have done HR, human resource qualifications, you will get exemptions from part of our course. And we have a form, and we simply send it to you. And a Word document. It breaks our course down into all the different parts, what they achieve, the learning outcomes, and we ask you to fill in what have you done, and the word is that is equivalent. And what can you show us? Do you have a certificate? Can you scan that? Can you send it to us? Do you have an employer that will write you a testimonial to say this is what you do in your job? And we will look, and if appropriate, we will give you exemptions from part of the course, and every part of the course has a cost, so it reduces your cost as well. So a lot of people get exemptions. The next thing everyone gets, and that is a bursary. What is a bursary? It is a scholarship. Every good university gives a scholarship. We give a scholarship to every student we take in worldwide. And it is based on your private, personal situation. We send you a form. We ask you to tell us what's going on in your life, what the situation is. Now, if you are an executive in a well-paid job, you might get $100 bursary or scholarship. If you are a single mother raising children on benefits, you might get $1,000 or $2,000 benefits bursary. This is money we actually give you. You never have to pay it back. It's not a loan. So everyone gets a scholarship of some kind, and many people get APL exemptions. There is no commitment for you. You can inquire and say, well, tell me what would I get? And you can inquire without having to commit at all. And again, this sets us apart from most companies. But again, for us, being morally fair is very, very important. Very important. Okay. Oh, by the way, look at the bottom right. You can come back on our courses and all of those completely free for the rest of your life. So you can redo them and again and redo parts of them at no cost, which is a bit different. Okay. So finally, what I want to do, last 10 minutes, I want to talk a little bit about what I call spiritual coaching. What does that mean? Well, it's just the way I look at things. This is what coaches right now, what they do in the world today. Number one, self-awareness. Who am I? What are my good? What are my bad points? What turns me on? What turns me off? There was a word written above a door in ancient Greece. The word was Gnosti, K-N-O-S-T-I. It was written above the door of the Delphic Oracle 3,000 years ago. And it means know thyself. Know yourself. And what was true for us 3,000 years ago as humans was true 2,000, 1,000, today, and always will be in the future. You see, we live in a world where people are getting hypnotized. They're getting pushed down roads. They're being convinced by social media, by television, by Hollywood, by society, that they should be taking on certain values, that they should look like this. We should all have a certain shape and a look and so on. And we get confused as human beings. And coaching is about taking us back to our true core values. As the word says, know thyself, and become comfortable and accepting of who we are. You know, although I love watching films and stuff, but Hollywood and social media have a lot to be blamed for by making people feel inadequate. Inadequate, right? Being vision and value-led. Spiritually intelligent people usually want to serve something bigger than themselves. You know, I'll just give you two completely different wild examples. Bill Gates, Mother Teresa. One of those people had a vision years ago of putting a computer on the desk of everyone. The other person had a vision of feeding starving children in Calcutta. Both very different, both good visions. Coaching helps you and I to have a vision of the person we could be. So that when we look at our lives, we look at it differently. We look at what could we do and be and see and achieve, and what could we leave as a legacy. And coaching helps us to do that. Next, being holistic, seeing the connection between, if human beings only knew the real connection between all human beings, you could not for 1 minute think about hurting another person. It could not live in your mind. And yet, if you watch the news, you see right now, there are groups of people all over this planet, groups here and there, trying to hurt other groups of people. We have a word. In coaching, we have a word. It's called disconnect. There is a huge disconnect out in the world. Coaching helps us to become truly connected, both to ourselves and to other human beings. Next, the ability to refrain from things. We've got to the point that we constantly want to engage in trivia and social media and watching television and reality TV shows, and it takes over people's lives. And coaching helps us to stand back. And we have a phrase, look up and look out. Look up and look out into the world. See what's really going on. See where you stand. Next, harmlessness and compassion. The number one rule in coaching, numero uno, is do no harm. Be harmless. And the second rule is show compassion for everyone. You know, sometimes people do strange things. They do bad things. They say things that are hurtful. But you know, you and I, sometimes we don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know what's happening in the background, what huge financial problems they might have, medical problems, relationship problems, you know? So coaching teaches us to have compassion. Tolerance and the celebration of diversity. Coaching teaches us that it is the person who is different from me who is my teacher. And it teaches us to embrace our differences. Field independence, standing against the crowd. This takes strength, it takes courage. And coaching gives people strength and courage. It helps you to get back to your true core values, to understand what your real principles in life are, and to have the strength to stand up for them. And it's not easy. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, we need that more than ever we have done in the world up to now. The ability and willingness to ask questions, to be concerned about the why of things. When you and I were children, we constantly asked questions. Why? And then we stopped. And as we got older, you and I made a decision, either consciously or subconsciously. We made the decision that in life, it is easier to get along with people if you simply go along. Just go along with things. And in every culture, we have phrases like, don't rock the boat. Don't make waves. Don't be a troublemaker. Well, coaching teaches us to have the strength to go back to ask questions, to constantly ask questions. We would live in a different world, I tell you now, if people had to be more transparent about their actions. And finally, you'll be pleased to know this is the last one. Finally, spontaneity, flexibility, freedom, the passion to be, to know, to play, to be free, the quality of living in the moment and the passion that goes with it. This is what coaching does for human beings. And I'll finish off by showing you this. This is my belief, by the way, so please, you don't have to agree with this. I believe that human beings, we need three things. Number one, we need attention. Why? In order to fulfill our deep-seated need for significance. You and I, as humans, are significant. And it's okay to want to feel significant. And it's okay to want sometimes a little bit of attention focused on you. Number two, we need appreciation. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be appreciated. But we live in a world that does not encourage it. And finally, we need affection. But I don't mean affection. What I mean is love, but that throws out my AAA formula, you see. So what we need is affection and love. And do you remember I said at the beginning, to be a good coach, you need to really love working with people. You see, when a coach is with a client and the two are together privately, a coach will focus 100% attention on that client. It is the client that's important, not the coach. The coach will show appreciation to the client. And he'll show it, or she will show it, in two ways. Number one, we appreciate the client for who they are and what they are, but also for their ability to build, grow, expand, create, to develop, to be all that they can be. So we appreciate them for what they are and their ability to be even more. And I'll tell you now, I've done nearly 10,000 hours of documented coaching over 24 years. It is impossible to sit down with another human being eye to eye and focus 100% attention on them and show complete appreciation to them if you don't love people. That's where the affection comes in. And I don't mean affection in a kooky, physical, weird way. I mean it in a compassionate, in an accepting, in a loving and caring way. And I hope you understand what I mean by that. And that's what coaches do in the world today, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll stop the share. There's more I could go on, but you're probably all getting very bored now. And I understand. So does anyone have any questions on anything that I've covered so far?
Hi, Gerard. My name is Władysław. I'm from Bulgaria, 40 years old. First, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate a lot from what you have said so far. Gerard, I'm going to get to the point. I'm working with IT professionals, I would say developers mostly. I've heard what you said about the world changing really quickly, and I can not agree more with you about it.
Yeah,
it is changing. I'm having the notion that, like a lot of the tools and even the coaching tools that you are now so kindly informed us about, they're aimed towards managers. They're aimed towards a work environment of today, maybe of yesterday. We have been talking about the work environment itself changing. Absolutely agree on this. They do change, and they are changing as we speak now. Most of the people I work with are selling their competency by the hour. Okay. About outsourcing also, this is true for everything else, but not for this type of people and skills, because those people are ever more sort of everywhere in the world. They're not enough, and those people enable us to be together here thousands of kilometers away and still together. So I'm working with those people. I try to push them, to motivate them, to speak with them, like to show them who they really are, because in my opinions, they are stars, you know.
Yes.
I saw a very nice picture of LinkedIn just the other day about two doctors lying on the floor of the operation room, of like spending like 14 hours doing brain tumor removal, being really happy. These are stars, you know.
Yeah.
And we put our attention so much about management, HR, which is right. I understand it completely. Those people have a specific set of skills that you want to enable and enhance, and for them to do their job better. I absolutely agree. Coaching is perfect, but I just want you to focus and just share your thought about
Yes.
those people that we don't see so much, but they're behind everything that is moving
They
right
are.
now.
They are behind everything, Vladislav. And if it wasn't for those people, companies wouldn't function, you know, many times. So yes, forgive me. When I spoke earlier, I did talk about the effectiveness of coaching for executives and managers and so on. What I didn't talk about, because we have limited time, actually, I would say within organizations, 70% of coaching is delivered to the individual men and women who work in the company, not the managers, not the supervisors, not the division heads, the actual men and women that make things work. My figures might be wrong, but it's around 70-ish% to those. Working with them as individuals, helping them to appreciate their role in the business, understand how they can be more effective, efficient, and how they can grow. So forgive me, Vladislav, for not covering that in enough detail, but we do, and we have coaching tools and what we call models, coaching models, specifically aimed at men and women like that. Now, you mentioned also the IT. I work with IT developers, programmers, dual stack programmers all over the world. Some of them are my clients, the individuals, so I know exactly where you're coming from. These are magnificent people. So thank you. Thank you for raising that.
Thank you, Gerard.
Thank you. And thank you for pointing out where I'm my shortfall. I should have mentioned that. Forgive me.
Gerard?
Yes, Katrin.
There's a question. Maybe this is a good place. The question is, what is the difference between a personal coaching, executive coaching, and corporate coaching?
Okay. Oh, good. Personal coaching, sometimes called practitioner coaching or individual coaching or life coaching. People use different words. Generally, when a coach is with a client doing personal or life coaching, the session would be about 1 hour, right? Generally. Executive coaching is where you are working with a senior manager or executive within a company. Generally, the company pays for it, not the individual. The time is usually around the 2 hours. And in my experience, you would do a package. A typical package is 8 sessions over 6 months. Now, it doesn't have to be like that, but this is a very common. You'd have an introductory session, 6 coaching sessions, 1 a month, and then at the end, a summary roundup of where you are. This is executive coaching. Corporate coaching, people talk about that, is where someone would go into an organization, maybe spend days, and during their time, they will work with a multitude of different people. So some one-on-one management and executive coaching, some team coaching. Now, team coaching is growing. It's probably the fastest growing sector of coaching right now, apart from child and adolescent coaching. Team coaching is growing very fast, where you go into an organization and you work with the teams and the departments. Sometimes people call that corporate coaching. So they use different words, different language for that. Income, in case you're interested, the average life coach in Western Europe and America charges about 100 to 120 pounds per hour. The average executive coach is between 200 and 900 pounds per session. This is Western Europe and America. In Eastern Europe, it's about 60% of what I've just said. Okay. And again, if you're going into a company, doing a whole day, then people's day rates, they charge per day, vary right now, right across Europe and America and beyond. It goes as low as 500, it goes up to 3,000, and I'm talking pounds per day. Here's a question for you all. Where do you think the In what country are coaches earning the most money right now? It changes every year, by the way, just looking at the PwC. In what country do you think coaches earn the most money right now? Any guess? It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Anyone? No, I'll help.
Let's go with USA.
Let's go with USA. No, it's not actually. A couple of years ago, it was Japan, but this year, it's Germany. And in Germany, and right now, top executive coaches in Germany are earning 1,000 euros per what?
Minute or hour?
Oh my goodness, no, I would not a minute. That would be incredible, wouldn't it? But you're right.
Just joking.
It's per hour. Per hour. Yeah. Now these are what you'd call the master coaches. They have a reputation, they have experience, they have been doing it for many years, and they are at the level of master coach. In the world of coaching, you have 3 ranks: practitioner coach, senior coach, master coach. These are recognized by the various accreditation bodies. So thank you for that question. Really good one. Any other final questions before we say goodbye, ladies and gentlemen?
Gerard, I put in your chat a question from Nikos.
Okay.
Nicolau.
How many hours real practice with clients after diploma takes to become an effective coach? Are there coaching areas you need further study knowledge? Okay, right. I remember many years ago, the best advice I was ever given was by a magnificent man called Thomas Leonard. Thomas unfortunately died a few years ago, but we call him the father of coaching. He was the man who invented the term life coach back in 1987. And I was privileged to attend a course with him. And I remember he gave me a bit of advice. He said, because a lot of coaches like to niche. They say, I want to be a wealth coach, a health coach, a relationship coach, a career coach. That's all very good. Nothing wrong with that. But he said to me, he said, Gerard, the best advice I can give you, he said, is coach anything that moves. So he said, coach anything that moves on anything. And he said, get as much practice under your belt as you possibly can. So to answer your question, Nikos, during the training, you'll do about 60 or 70 hours coaching as part of the course. After that, it varies per person, but I would say you need to get a good 100 hours under your belt on top of that before you get to a point where it becomes intuitive. So you're no longer having to worry about the coaching model and what questions to ask, and it suddenly flows. Once you've got an additional, on top of the 60, another 100 hours, you'll find things change. Your attitude towards the coaching changes. You won't be as stressed, because in the early days, as a new coach, you're a bit nervous, a bit anxious. You want to do a good job. And that stress goes, and you just love the coaching, and I'll use the word flow. It begins to flow. So I hope that, are there further areas?
Yes, thank you, Gerard. Thank you.
Oh, not at all, my friend, not at all. The other question, are there further areas? Well, yes and no. Yes and no. It very much depends if you want to specialize in a particular area. There's one I mentioned a couple of times, child and adolescent. That's very big and growing at the moment. And people can do extra little small familiarization courses to increase their knowledge in those. But only do that, only if you feel your heart is pulling you in that direction. Follow your heart, never follow the money. If you follow your heart, the money will come. If you follow the money, you'll get stressed. So, any other final questions, ladies and gentlemen? How to know which subject of coaching I should learn that matches my being? Oh, Malik, that's a great question. Well,
Good evening, sir.
good evening, my friend. Lovely to have you. Thank you. What we say is, once you do a normal coach training program, you become qualified. During that, you will get to experience and practice coaching people in many different walks of life, many different types of area. And you'll then know if your heart is pulling you in a certain direction. You know, for example, me, I don't specialize, but there are two areas that I love to coach people in. Now, I will coach people in other areas, but the two I love are business owners. I love coaching entrepreneurs because I am an entrepreneur and I know the pain, the passion that they have and the problems. And the second is spiritual coaching, helping people to uplift and achieve higher levels of consciousness. I love doing that as well. But I will coach people on pretty much anything if they ask. But go with your heart.
Yeah. Can I say?
Yes, of course.
I have done one course of Louise Hay. You must be aware of. You can heal your life.
Of course. Indeed.
After that, I practiced myself only, and I feel that I can understand people's pattern which disturbs their life in their consciousness. So I suggest them meditations, and I can understand the patterns. So do we have this spiritual coaching I should go for? And I'm from India, so how I can use this platform and develop this as a career? Because as of now, my profession is into insurance consultancy.
Sure.
But my heart actually, as you are saying, listen to your heart. I want to contribute towards the humanity and for transformation of the consciousness. Yeah, that's the real thing I would like to do.
Oh, that's a wonderful aim. It's a wonderful thing to go for, Malik. And where you are, of course, is the world's home of spirituality.
Thank you. Yeah.
But yes. So you mentioned an interesting word just now. You talked about meditation, and I'm not going to give a lecture on that. But the Buddhists say, if you only ever give yourself one gift in life, give yourself the gift of meditation. And it's an incredible thing to do. And again, we teach this type of thing within our coach training. So anything any of you need, ladies and gentlemen, today is not a sales day. Today is just to help to raise your knowledge, open your eyes, answer your questions, give you how can I put this? I want to give you an intellectual feel into the world of coaching, and I want to give you an emotional feel into the world of coaching. And then after that, we will now send you email, everything I've shown, PowerPoint, slides, list of websites, we'll send all that to you. And if you ever need anything, just come back to us. You don't have to. There is no compulsion. There's no commitment. But if you ever need anything, we are here for you. And,
thank you. Thank you.
Not at all, my friend. And I want to thank all of you for your time. We've been together a couple of hours. You'll never get that back. And I just hope that I've filled those hours with some interesting and worthwhile information for you. So bless you all, and have a lovely evening with your family, and have a lovely rest of the weekend. So I'll stop the recording now. So.